Hi, so we are back with the Communication Toolbox, and this is episode 5.4, continuing on talking about active listening. And today we're just going to go over a few simple skills of active listening. Now, these are just so standard, and this has been taught and retaught and just introduced so many times by so many different theorists. It's really hard to know who actually to give credit to, where to pin it down. And I've taught this to university students. I've taught this in multiple communications courses. I've read it in many different books. So this is just classic active listening skills. So what we want to be mindful of is the other person's need for distance and closeness. So their need for physical space, physical closeness, emotional distance. And we really want to express an appreciation for sharing because these are the main focuses of active listening. Active listening at its root is about building trust and this reciprocity, that a positive dialogue can be expressed and listened to. So these are some of the ways that we can check if we have actually heard what the speaker is trying to convey. The first one is called parroting and paraphrasing. So parroting is just what it sounds like. We are going to hear what the person says and we are going to repeat it back to them. Paraphrasing is maybe this person has expressed a lot, and so we're just going to try and wrap our head around it. I think what I hear you saying is tying these different pieces together. Another skill would be wondering with them. So try to draw conclusions about how they are feeling and what is going on for them. So it sounds like you're feeling this way, or it would be blank if that happened. So we're trying to express some emotion. Maybe we're taking a little guesstimation, trying to nudge them to continue on talking. Ask non-questions. So actually non-questions is a phrase that I started to say back in the day when I would teach active listening, because a non-question is really just a statement that we put a question mark on the end. And this is maybe even just paraphrasing or parroting. So you just said that you're angry. That's not really a question, but I'm putting a question mark on the end. So what you're saying is verbatim what they said, question mark. It sounds like you feel or think ... It's the tone, it's the energy behind it. Asking in this way rather than saying why, how, what about, it takes some pressure off and it furthers to convey that we are listening. The speaker is going to feel more heard because we are really trying to use the speaker's words. And just in continuing the dialogue, we might switch roles back and forth. We might say, do you mind if I take some time to speak about my point of view now? And we want to reflect on the experience. So share your take on the situation while the other person is listening. So maybe we give some feedback on how it was to hear them, or we share just our points of view on the same topic. Brainstorming a solution, so work together to come up with a suitable solution. The key to effective brainstorming is to work together. At this point, you may want to reset the stage. So we might just want to say, hey, let's get a handle on this. Let's go back to some of the tools that we've been using since the very beginning of this actual conversation. Or even just to say, let's sit down. Do we need a piece of paper? Should we write a list? Trying to come together to collaborate on how you are going to brainstorm the next step. Apply what you've learned and reevaluate. So again, with active listening, this is one of those tools that feels very formula driven, and that's why some people don't really use it in therapy the way that we used to, say 10, 20 years ago. But with the reevaluating, we're going to try to take steps to use what we've heard is needed by the other person. We are going to take steps and measures to apply the brainstorming, and then we might actually just set a date, a specific date to reevaluate, or I will call it a milestone. And that might be something like next week, it could be in a month. Sometimes with people in more distressed situations where they're trying to come up with guidelines and expectations, say in a separation, I will suggest that we set a milestone evaluation for 3 months. So there's some different ways that you might look at these pieces, but it all ties right back into active listening and how it can be useful. All right, you guys, this is some of the simple foundational stuff, and hopefully many of you have already heard or learned about active listening, and this is just a refresh, and you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I used to do more of that, and it was something that helped me to stay connected in a time of distress, or to just help my person know that I was really, really there for them when they needed me to be. Until next time, bye guys.